Finger strength. A climber's biggest friend or foe. Strength or weakness. I want strong fingers. I want to have a vice-like grip on toothers and Yves Gravelle-like crimping power. Over the last years, I basically just climbed. I've never really trained my fingers specifically. It wasn't until September 2019, when my son was born, that I started to train on the hangboard. I trained for about 3 to 4 months and did my hardest on-sites in the gym afterwards. This was the first time that I realized that there was a huge potential for me to train my fingers and to get stronger. In February 2020 I stopped the hangboard training and I started it in September 2020 again, because I tasted some of the sweet finger strength nectar. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. I want more. I want stronger fingers. I want better fingers. I want faster fingers. Stronger and better is enough, I guess. So in September 2020 I started hangboarding again. For the first time ever, I used extra weights. And as it is often the case with me, I saw finger training as a sprint, not as a marathon. I trained way too fast again and I hurt myself, so I had to stop in November 2020. As you may have seen in my other video, I did the Lenny in January. While my finger was slowly healing, I saw a video of Emil Abrahamssons. He and his brother Felix presented a hangboard routine, which they derived from a study they found. It looked like it wasn't too hard on the fingers, and the results were just too good to be true. I was drawn to it, and naturally I wanted to try it myself. The day after I saw the video, I started to train. It was the 11th of February. Now 1 month is over, and I want to show you my results. But first, what did my training plan actually look like? Well, to be honest, I kinda followed Emil's plan and only did some minor changes. If you haven't seen the video yet, you should definitely check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. So my hangboard routine consisted of 12 hangs. I did 4 hangs with a half crimp, 4 hangs with a 3-finger drag, 2 hangs with a middle finger crimped, and 2 hangs with the front finger crimped. But in the first 8 hangs I only pulled around 70 to 80% of my body weight. And in the last 4 hangs I pulled around 50 to 60% of my body weight. Each hang lasted 10 seconds, with a rest of 50 seconds in between. For the first 8 hangs I used the top edge of the Beastmaker 1000 board, which is around 14 mm wide. For the last 4 hangs I used the 2-finger pockets. In the 50-second pause of the first 8 hangs, I stretched out my back 2 fingers, so the pinky and the ring finger. Emil stretched out his pinky only, but that didn't really feel comfortable for me. So I chose ring and pinky finger. And I did it for 8 hangs and 10 seconds, but only with around 50% of my body weight. And just to clarify, when I mean hangs, I actually mean no hangs, the same way Emil does. And to figure out how much 70 or 80% of my body weight actually is, I used a scale at the beginning. I stood on it and pulled around 70%, and then I got a feeling of how much I have to pull. But of course, this isn't exact science, it's just a rough orientation. So I did this hangboard routine 2 times a day. Only when I was climbing or doing other finger intense work like route setting, I did it only once per day. There were only very few days where I didn't do it at all. As a benchmark for testing, Emil used very small crimps and hanging on one hand. Since I don't have access to very small crimps, I thought the only benchmark I could do is to try to hang on one hand after I did the hangboard routine for 30 days. Emil also used extra weights on the small crimps, which I totally forgot about, and unfortunately I cannot redo it. But I did do a finger strength testing session on 3rd of January, where I was able to hold 27.5 kg for 7 seconds, which is around 148% of my body weight. So I'll take this as a benchmark. As you can see here, I'm definitely not able to hang on the 20mm edge of the Beastmaker 1000 with one arm. Just to be sure that I was able to hang on with one arm at all, I tried to hang on the jugs, and this worked out fine. Also, another benchmark I tried was hanging on the 14mm edges on the Beastmaker 1000 for as long as possible. This is my result. Emil's results were just astounding. He was able to hold much more weight compared to what he was able to hold before the hangboard routine. Also, he easily managed to hold on to the 20mm edge with one arm. So while I was doing the hangboard routine for 30 days, I was definitely looking forward to the testing session, and I was quite excited and I wanted to see if I was able to produce comparable results. The first result that I have is that my left middle finger is actually feeling great again. I heard it at the beginning of January while I was fingerboarding, and it felt tweaky ever since. While I was doing the hangboard routine, it felt tweaky maybe for the first week or the first 10 days, but then it got gradually better. And actually, I did pull very hard on some monos the other day while I was climbing, and it felt really strong. So this is very good, and this is definitely a thumbs up. I must say that additionally to the hangboard routine, I also used one of these finger extensor thingies to train my finger extensors. I did train maybe twice a day with 2 or 3 times 10 reps per hand. Of course, it's quite hard to say now which helped here, but I guess it might be a mixture of both. So already for this purpose, the hangboard routine was great. So after I did my usual warm-up, I wanted to find out if I could hang off my back 2 fingers. Because while doing the hangboard routine, I realized that while I was stretching out my back 2 fingers, that they felt stronger and stronger over the time. And I thought, I might test it. So yeah, it worked out quite fine actually. I definitely know that I couldn't hold it before the hangboard routine. Fortunately, I don't have any footage of it because I didn't think that it would be something that I would be able to do after the hangboard routine. And the fingers actually felt pretty strong, so that's quite amazing. The next test was to try if I could hang on one hand. I couldn't do it before, and as you can see, I still can't do it. But although I still can hang on one arm, I felt that I could at least engage my fingers while I was trying to hang on one arm, whilst the first time before the hangboard routine I couldn't even engage and I instantly slipped off. So although it doesn't look like a great improvement, it actually feels like a bit of an improvement, and it feels like I got a bit closer to actually being able to hang off one arm one day. The result isn't as incredible as it was in Emil's case, but at least it feels like a small improvement, so that's quite nice. Next off was the max hang testing session. So I started with 20 kilograms, which is around 135% of my body weight, just to prepare my finger for the high intensity. This actually felt kinda easy, so I progressed to 26 kilograms, which is around 145% of my body weight. Also, 26 kilograms felt quite easy and quite stable, so I bumped it up to 30 kilograms, which would have been a new PB. 30 kilograms is 152% of my body weight, and as you could see, it actually worked out quite fine, and I felt like there is still something left in the tank. And I bumped it up to 35 kilograms, which is around 160% of my body weight. I was nearly able to hold 35 kilograms, but I felt like in the last 1 or 2 seconds my fingers opened up and I couldn't hold it anymore, so it didn't count. But because there was only the last 1 or 2 seconds which didn't work out, I thought I might try it again with 34 kilograms, which is nearly 160% of my body weight. So 160% would be 34.2 kilograms, and I tested it with 34 kilograms. So I guess that's close enough. So actually this worked out and it was a new PB for me, so which is really nice. And again, although the results weren't as incredible compared to Emils, I still felt that there is a lot of improvement actually, and I was quite happy about the result. But to be fair, I must say that my last testing session in January, where I was able to hold 27.5 kilograms, was after a break of 2 months where I didn't do anything, so maybe this is not the best point to compare it to, but still I guess there is lots of improvement. And I've read or heard somewhere, I think it was on the latest channel, that if you want to be able to hang off one arm, you have to be able to hold 170 to 180% of your body weight with 2 arms. And as I was able to hang 160% of my body weight and I was kinda able to hang on one arm, it felt like when I'm able to hold another 10% on 2 arms, so 170%, I might be able to hang off one arm. So maybe the way isn't too far off. But why am I not suddenly able to hang off of one arm? Well, when I compare myself to Emil, he's insanely strong. He can do crazy campus moves, one-arm pull-ups, and can do other weird one-arm slopey dynamic moves. Neither have I trained on the campus board, nor can I campus boulders easily as Emil can. I can't do one-arm pull-ups, and I just started doing weighted pull-ups. So I basically am a weak noodle and lack lots of upper body strength. Also, Emil can hang 190% of his body weight on the 14mm edges, whereas I can barely hang 150% of my body weight on the 20mm edges. So I guess these are some of the reasons why I'm just not able to hang off of one arm. And although I was hoping I would be as strong and as good looking as Emil after the 30-board hangboard routine, you can't always get what you want. Dr. Hooper from Hooper's Beta actually made a review on Emil's hangboard routine. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it, it's really interesting. According to Dr. Hooper, this routine might increase tendon stiffness, which can lead to harder crimping, but comes with a potential increased risk of injury. Therefore, he proposes to change up the hangboard routine with longer sub-max hangs of 30 plus seconds, which according to him might lead to greater tendon compliance and not tendon stiffness, which leads to tendon healing. If you use a concept which is called periodization, you can actually use these 30 plus sub-max hangs for tendon compliance and healing in the off-season. And then during the preseason you can do max hangs to increase strength and tissue stiffness. So basically I've never tried this kind of periodization, and I think I will try to introduce this to my training because it sounds very logical. And although this hangboard routine didn't turn out to be a magic pill, I'm still very thankful for this idea, and a big shout out to Emil and his brother Felix for this idea. And I'm quite curious to see what the results of all the other people are who tried this hangboard regime as well, because I actually saw a lot of people commenting on Emil's channel that they want to try it as well. So if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. Bye bye.